The last stop. There's a bridge out on Ashton Road that most people don't think twice about. It's old concrete, barely wide enough for 2 cars, and has no sidewalk. Just a rail chest high and a rusting sign warning that the weight limit is strictly enforced. Locals call it Old Bridge, but no one really avoids it. There's no lore, no ghost stories. It's just another part of town. Forgotten. I'm a rideshare driver, mostly evenings, sometimes night shifts when the bonuses are good. I've picked up all kinds of people, drunk college kids, quiet airport arrivals, a guy who insisted on playing his own techno mix at full volume. So when I got a ping for a pickup out near Ashton Road at 11:24 p.m., I didn't think twice. I was already headed that way. The map said it was a 12-minute drive to pick up someone named Lila at a pin near the bridge. Not a house. Not a parking lot. Just the edge of the road before it curved over the river, weird but not unheard of. She was standing there when I arrived. Mid-20s, maybe younger. Black hoodie, ripped jeans, looked like she'd walked a long way. Pale. Dirt on her hands. She opened the door slowly and slid in without saying a word. "Hi, Lila?" I asked, glancing in the rear view. She nodded. "That's me." I pulled onto the bridge. It was empty except for us. "Where are we headed?" I asked. She gave me an address across town, a residential street in a quiet neighborhood. 20 minutes, tops. The first 10 minutes passed in silence. She stared out the window, not scrolling her phone like most people do. I noticed she wasn't wearing shoes. "You okay?" I asked finally. She hesitated. "I didn't mean to scare you. I just didn't know who else to call." That struck me as odd. "You called a rideshare." She didn't answer. I checked the mirror again. She wasn't looking at me, just quietly watching the trees whip past. I turned the music down. "You live around here?" She shook her head. "Not anymore." "Family visit?" Another long pause. "Then you don't have to talk to me. I know this isn't normal." She didn't say it rudely, more like a confession. Then, after another beat, "You've crossed that bridge before, right?" "Ashton? Yeah, all the time." She nodded slowly. "Do you know what happened there last year?" I frowned. "No?" "There was an accident. 2 teenagers, high school seniors. They were racing, hit the rail, fell into the river." I glanced back at her. Her face was blank. Only one body was found. I didn't know what to say to that. "They said the other one probably got swept downriver," she continued. "Or maybe ran off, but they searched. Days. Nothing." I didn't recognize her face from any news coverage, but I remembered the story vaguely. A car had gone over the edge. I assumed it was resolved. Kept driving, waiting for her to say more. Then she asked, "Do you believe people can get stuck? Like, mentally?" "No. In a place, in a moment, caught between going home and staying gone." I didn't answer. She looked at me through the mirror. "Can I tell you something?" I nodded. "I wasn't supposed to survive." Silence. I checked the mirror again. Her hoodie had slipped slightly. There was a scar, a thick, ragged one, stretching from her collarbone up her neck. "I was in the car, a passenger, my friend was driving." She paused. "We hit the rail and went over. I remember the scream, the crunch of metal, then water. Cold, dark water, and silence." My grip on the wheel tightened. "They said I was found wandering 2 miles downstream, soaked, in shock. Couldn't speak for 3 days." Another pause. "I was dead, but I came back." I turned onto the long road that led to her destination. "I've had dreams since then," she whispered, "about the bridge, about the river, about something waiting down there." Now I felt goosebumps. But it's not just dreams. Last week I saw my friend on the side of the road. I blinked. She waved me. Then she turned and walked onto the bridge. I didn't know what to say. "I think she's still there. I think the bridge is a place, a door." A house came into view ahead, her drop-off. "You don't believe me," she said. It's okay, I wouldn't either." I pulled into the driveway. The porch light flicked on. Someone had left it on for her. She opened the door, then paused. "You were the last one available. My app said no drivers nearby before you accepted." She got out and shut the door gently. Then she turned back just before walking up the porch steps. "Thank you for listening." I nodded, not sure what to make of the whole ride. She went inside. The door closed. I checked the app. It still showed the ride as in progress. Weird. I refreshed. Still the same. Then I noticed something else. The name on the ride wasn't Lila. It was Rachel P., the girl who died in the Ashton Bridge accident last year. I remembered the article now, her picture, the scar. I turned cold. I reopened the app and checked the ride history. There was no Rachel, no trip log, no charge pending. It was like the ride never happened. But I remember her voice, her face, the scar, and I still have the damp patch on the backseat to prove it. The Forgotten Bridge. My name is Marcus, and I work as a delivery driver. Most nights, I cruise through familiar streets without much thought, but there's one part of my route I dread, the old wooden bridge on the edge of town. It's a rickety structure, decades old, creaking under every vehicle that crosses it. The bridge connects the main road to a handful of rundown warehouses, but most people avoid it now. I take it anyway because it cuts my route in half. That night was unusually foggy, so thick that I could barely see 10 feet in front of me. My headlights cut through the mist like weak beams in a tunnel. As I slowed down to cross the bridge, the wood groaned under the tires of my delivery van. The smell of damp wood and cold air filled the cab. Suddenly, the radio crackled and sputtered. The music stopped, replaced by static, then silence. I reached to turn it off, but the dial was frozen. The silence inside the van grew heavy, as if the air had thickened. I glanced around nervously. Then, out of the fog on the side of the bridge, I saw him. A figure stood still, barely visible, wearing a long, torn coat that flapped softly in the breeze. His face was hidden in shadow, and I couldn't make out any features. The figure didn't move, just stood there, watching. "Hey," I muttered, mostly to myself, trying to shake off the feeling. "You okay?" No answer, just silence and the creaking wood beneath us. Then, just like that, he vanished. I told myself it was the fog playing tricks, or maybe someone had moved off the bridge without me noticing. But then the van sputtered. The engine stuttered and died. I twisted the key again and again. Nothing. My heart started pounding. I pulled out my phone. No signal. A chill ran through me. Alone on a narrow bridge, surrounded by fog, with no way to call for help. Then I heard it, the faintest whisper, like a voice calling my name. "Marcus." I froze. The sound came from all directions, a chorus of desperate voices barely audible over the silence. "Who's there?" I called out, voice shaking. Only silence answered. Then footsteps, slow, heavy steps on the wooden planks behind me. I spun around, but no one was there. The footsteps kept coming, echoing in time with my heartbeat. It felt like the shadow of myself was following me. I swallowed hard and looked over the railing. The river below was black and still, but then two red eyes flashed in the water's reflection. I stumbled back, breath catching. "What the hell?" I whispered. The eyes blinked once and disappeared. I scrambled back into the van, trying the ignition again. Nothing. I knew I couldn't stay. So I shoved the van to the side and ran. My footsteps echoed loudly as I sprinted across the bridge, the fog swirling like living hands trying to pull me back. The whispers grew louder, filled with a pleading desperation. Halfway across, I stumbled, almost falling into the dark water below. My chest burned. My legs felt like lead, but I pushed forward. When I reached the other side, I didn't stop running until I hit the safety of the warehouse district. I collapsed, gasping for breath, staring back at the bridge swallowed by the fog. I never told anyone what happened. Who would believe me? Days later, I heard the story. A man vanished on that bridge years ago. Some say he was taken by restless spirits, trapped forever between worlds. Since then, I avoid the bridge at night. But sometimes, when the fog rolls in thick and the wind whistles through the trees, I swear I can still hear footsteps, slow and steady, following me across the wooden planks. And I know I'm not alone. The Toll. My name is Callie, and until last fall, I didn't believe in curses. I used to be a rational person. I teach high school chemistry. I believe in atoms and evidence, not ghosts, not legends. But now I leave offerings, because if I don't, someone else might have to pay the toll. This story begins with my brother, Jake. He was the one who told me about Black Hollow Bridge. It's not marked on any modern maps. You have to take a side road off the old highway, through a line of trees that look burned even in summer. If you're not looking for it, you'd never notice it. Jake was obsessed with urban legends. He made a podcast about them, the kind that draws in late-night thrill seekers and weirdos, folk hauntings. He thought Black Hollow Bridge would be his big break. A real, unsolved mystery, he said. The bridge itself is ancient, stone and iron, arched over a dry creek bed that only flows after heavy rains. Locals say it was built in the 1800s, part of an old trade route. but it was abandoned after the disappearances started. The story goes like this. If you cross Black Hollow Bridge without paying the toll, something follows you. It doesn't matter who you are. You leave the bridge and you're not alone. The toll isn't money. It's blood. Jake loved this kind of thing, so of course he went. He left a mic recording the entire time. I found the recorder in his glove compartment when I went looking for him. It starts with his usual snarky voice. Okay, we're here. Black Hollow Bridge, allegedly cursed. Let's check it out. Footsteps crunching over gravel. His breathing slows. This place is creepy as hell. Trees look dead, air's cold, but it's August. Then the footsteps stop. Whoa, there's something on the bridge. A stone bowl? It's got old stains inside. Rust? Blood? He laughs. Guess this is the toll booth. Silence. Then, you know what? Screw it. Let's see what happens when you don't pay the toll. More footsteps. He walks across the bridge, and then something changes. There's a hiss, like wind and static layered over one another, the kind of sound that makes your skin crawl. Jake says, "Do you hear that?" But there's no one else there. Then there's screaming. Not his. A high, wet wail that sounds wrong. Like it's not coming from a throat, but through broken glass. Then Jake runs. His footsteps thunder back the way he came. He's crying, gasping. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean." Then silence. The recorder keeps running. You hear the hum of the car engine hours later, but Jake never speaks again. They found his car on the side of the road the next morning. Empty. The door was open, keys still in the ignition. His phone was locked, lying on the driver's seat. His backpack was in the trunk. No blood, no signs of struggle. He was just gone. At first, I thought he was messing with me, some elaborate podcast stunt. But that night, I heard scratching at my window. 3 slow drags like nails on glass. I live on the 2nd floor. The next day, my students told me I looked tired. One of them said I smelled like the woods. I hadn't been outside. By the 3rd night, I started hearing voices in my apartment. Whispers that only came when the lights were off. They said my name. They said his name. I found myself walking without meaning to, waking up standing at my front door, keys in hand. One night, I opened my eyes to find myself on the highway, heading toward the woods, toward the bridge. It wanted me too. But I'm not like Jake. I'm careful. I believe in evidence, remember? So I did the research, dug through newspaper archives, microfilm, town records that smelled like mold and history. I found them dozens of missing persons cases, all from the same area. Most dismissed as runaways or hikers lost in the woods, all of them last seen near Black Hollow. One case in 1974 mentioned strange behavior before the disappearance. Paranoia, hearing things, sleepwalking, it happens to all of them. Unless one case stood out, a woman named Lila Marin. She survived. In her police statement, she said she heard the voices too, felt something following her. She saw something move under the bridge even when the creek was dry. She said she went back to the bridge one night and left a toll, a drop of her own blood. After that, the voices stopped. So that's what I did. I went back to Black Hollow Bridge just before dawn. The road was quiet, no cars, no birds. The bridge loomed like a scar across the forest. The stone bowl was still there. I took out a pocket knife. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold it. I made a small cut across my palm and let the blood drip into the bowl. The moment it hit, the wind died. The trees stopped moving, and from under the bridge, I heard breathing. Deep, wet, inhuman. Then a voice like something trying to remember how to speak. Debt acknowledged. I turned and walked away. I didn't run. Behind me, the sun rose and the fog lifted. Since then, I haven't heard the voices. The scratching stopped. I sleep through the night, but I dream of him. Jake. Standing on the bridge, staring at something in the trees, and I think I know what happened. He didn't pay the toll, so I did. And it let me go, but not everyone gets that chance. So now once a month I go back. I bring offerings, blood, sometimes animals, sometimes my own. Not much, just enough to keep the thing below satisfied. Because if I don't, it might come looking for someone else, someone like you. So if you ever find yourself on an old bridge deep in the woods and you see a stone bowl at the center, leave something behind before something follows you home.